All right, my fellow agents. So this is kind of the first video that is actually giving me a little bit of anxiety over putting out there, but I do feel a little bit of an obligation to others in our industry to let them know and let you know why agents are not moving over to Epique Realty and why you should not be joining Epique Realty either, especially if you do not thoroughly understand the three things that I'm going to break down in this video. So let's dive into it. Honestly, it seems like every single time I've spoken to another agent about Epique Realty, the benefits Epique offers and how it's sort of breaking the industry right now, I seem to get the exact same responses every single time. They always say, Mark, this seems too good to be true. And if this isn't too good to be true, then why isn't every single agent out there making the move over to Epique Realty? And there is no way that a brokerage can afford to offer all of the benefits Epique offers for free, especially when no one else in the industry is offering this. So I always reply with, well, let me tell you why everyone hasn't made the move over to Epique yet and why you shouldn't be making the move to Epique either. So we've set the scene. So let's break down these three reasons why you should not be joining Epique Realty this year unless you properly understand what I'm about to break down for you. First, let's break down the evolution of the real estate industry itself, because most people don't even understand how their business actually works. And I mean, I hear it constantly, folks, from agents who just aren't entirely educated and who say things like Epique Realty seems like a pyramid scheme, just like eXp Realty, just like Real Broker, just like LPT Realty, and so on. So, breaking it down, folks, in the earliest days of real estate and agents getting into this industry, there was something called a no-cap model. Basically, there were brokerages whose models were a 70-30 split or a 60-40 split with no cap. Something like that today would be like Compass Realty, which is on an 80-20 split with no cap, meaning that if you are on that 80-20 split with no cap, you pay 20%, no ifs, no ands, no buts, to the brokerage itself. Whether you're doing 10 deals or 20 deals or 100 deals or 1,000 deals, you are going to be paying 20% no matter what to that brokerage. My thought is that I still have yet to see a no-cap brokerage like that that could really justify taking a split for perpetuity on every single deal, especially since they offer equal to or less than most other brokerage that do have caps. So, folks, the next thing we need to break down is what happened after the cap model came into play. So, you've likely heard of Keller Williams and what they did that disrupted the industry as a whole, and that was because they decided to do a 70-30 split. But on top of that, they added an $18,000 or more cap, meaning that once that 30% of the split equals $18,000 that you have paid into the broker, then now you have capped, and now you can make 100% of your commission versus paying 30% to the brokerage. So now when they introduced this, it really was something big, and I have to give them props for all the groundwork that they did in the industry. Now, one of the big caveats of Keller Williams is the fact that they were and still are a franchise brokerage. So KW offices are franchises, meaning they had physical brick and mortar locations and operated on a franchise structure. Now, as with any franchise, you are going to have franchise fees. With KW, that means you are on the hook again for an extra 6% franchise fee on top of that 30% that their agents are already paying into the brokerage. So what happens here is that you end up paying a little bit extra regardless. It was still a disruptive model to the industry and a large part of why KW became the #1 brokerage in the world. They grew the fastest out of anybody, and they really took a massive share of the market because agents were excited that once they had hit a certain criteria, a certain benchmark, then they no longer had to pay the brokerage anymore, and they would make 100% of their commission. It's totally a no-brainer. I get why they grew so fast and why so many agents moved to KW. So what happened after that is that eXp Realty came down the road and reworked that model. So instead of having a cap and franchise fees, eXp decided to have a cap model but eliminate the franchise structure entirely and actually give ownership in the brokerage to the agents themselves. Totally earth moving. New idea, it was really awesome. So eXp Realty decided to do an 80-20 split while having a $16,000 cap, and they introduced a totally new idea. So this new idea was called icon status as a way to give ownership back to the best of the best agents at eXp Realty. So essentially the icon program is for when you as an agent have hit your cap, which takes 30 deals or so, let's say, and then you have to do another 20-ish transactions on top of that. So roughly 50-ish deals in a year, roughly $500,000 in GCI with a minimum of 10 transactions. Once that is all hit, then you get your entire $16,000 cap as an eXp agent for free back in company stock. So after you complete some in-person requirements and a couple other requirements, eXp Realty hit those benchmarks, you hit icon status. So Epique changed that up and decided to change it a little bit. Really is pretty darn impossible to hit for a vast majority of agents out there. So Epique wanted to make that status a little bit more accessible to their agents and didn't want to require all the in-person and other requirements and hoops to earn your cap back. So we will do another video for you guys that will further kind of help clarify whether eXp Realty or Epique Realty is going to be the right brokerage for you. So keep an eye out for that video. So back to ownership. I really want to emphasize that because at most brokerages, as an agent, you are essentially renting your real estate business. So if you are at a brokerage where you are paying a monthly fee and you don't have any ownership in that brokerage, then you absolutely are renting your business from that brokerage. Now, at the same time, you are out there telling buyers to purchase property and not rent because they will be getting equity and ownership instead of just paying 100% interest via renting. So it really doesn't make a ton of sense when agents are telling their clients to do something like pursuing equity and ownership versus renting and no equity and no ownership, especially when the agents themselves are not taking their own advice when it comes to their business. So taking a look at Epique Realty, essentially it's a next evolution for the real estate industry, following in the footsteps of KW and eXp Realty to bring something that really is re-engineering the realm of real estate brokerages. Here are some of the reasons why people are saying that Epique Realty is just too good to be true, even though it is one of the fastest growing brokerages in the US right now. So as an agent with Epique, you have free buyer, free seller, and free attraction leads, free healthcare, free transaction coordinators, a free CRM, free social media ads and management, free coaching and mentorship, free CE courses, free stock, free E&O insurance, and a whole lot more that I will put in a list in the description down below. So anyway, the point of all that is it's a long list of free benefits for Epique's agents, and it is definitely why folks are saying that there's no way it's true, but I assure you it's entirely possible and quite real. So let's be honest, folks. If you are on the inside as an agent like myself, or a broker, or a team leader, then you know that the idea of having a cap was once entirely impossible, and then KW did it and it became the largest brokerage in the world. You also know that sharing revenue and brokerage ownership with agents was at one point in time totally impossible, and then EXP went and did it and became one of the most profitable brokerages in the entire world. So now, if you have been paying attention, then you know that Epique has figured out how to have the most advanced, agent-owned and operated and founded benefits-packed brokerage in the entire country. So, folks, I get it if you were skeptical. I won't lie to you. I was extremely skeptical at first. But anyways, I want to break down and kind of give you a 100-foot view of how Epique accomplishes all of this for their agents. And trust me, I'm going to be doing a more in-depth video in the future to dive a bit deeper. So there will be a few bullet points here, and the first being Epique strategic partnerships. Epique doesn't work with vendors. Epique makes vendors work with them. Everyone who partners with Epique has agreed to the terms of what they are willing to pay and not what the vendor wants to charge. So the rates that Epique is paying for these services amount to a very small fraction of what typical vendors, agents, and other businesses would pay at retail. So the next bullet point is going to be Epique's in-house tech and development. So all of Epique's apps, websites, and AI software are built in-house, ultimately saving hundreds of thousands of dollars in development and maintenance costs. The nice thing is they are still all in one spot. It's just a super convenient Epique app on your phone. You can access everything. It's very, very efficient. And outside of a couple minor growing pains in the earliest days, it runs like a top now. It is very, very easy to navigate and use on a daily basis. So up next is going to be automation, API, and AI systems. So despite the fact that the majority of companies across the world are constantly looking to improve their systems and efficiencies with AI, most real estate brokerages tend to be a bit more dated in their adaptation of new tech, which typically results in agents getting the short end of the stick and falling a little bit behind the ball. So on the flip side of that, Epique is utilizing some cutting-edge AI tech, REST API, and automation throughout every area of their workflow with the goal of decreasing costs and maximizing efficiency while still providing a high level of service. So we talked about this a little bit earlier in the video, but let's talk about capped expenses at Epique. So Epique doesn't add benefits for agents and then simply inflate its budget to artificially accommodate those increased costs. Unlike some of our elected officials, and actually all of our elected officials, unfortunately, instead they add these benefits through already existing per agent, per transaction budgets so that they remain with a healthy margin without taking on any debt. So touching on Epique being debt-free, there aren't any crazy overhead expenses, no overinflated costly staffing issues, and without nonsense titles and C-suite positions that typically come with a hefty price tag and insanely low returns. So the dollars at Epique are going toward providing value to the agents. I've talked to the founder himself. It really is incredible. He started with EXP, he bootstrapped the entire operation, and Epique is entirely debt free. So, as an agent, at least if you have any sort of tenure as an agent, then you know that it's very, very easy to encounter organizations that will nickel and dime you down to the bone. At least I have in my real estate career. So thankfully, Epique is not a nickel and dime you to death type of brokerage. Now, they aren't a discount brokerage, but it certainly isn't expensive either. So the focus here is always offering and adding value. Agents pay monthly fees, a company split, and a transaction fee. Those fees all fall below what you are going to find at most major brokerages in order to maximize just how the agent is able to retain and how much Epique is able to cover in regards to their agents. So our last bullet point, folks, is the vertical integration here at Epique. So by leveraging several key partnerships in the industry, Epique has different avenues that give them the opportunity to earn several ways on each aspect of a real estate transaction without having to squeeze that out of their agents. And don't worry, I know that we need more explanation. Just keep an eye out and turn on your notifications because I will be doing more videos in the future that will be a deeper dive into each of these perks and bullet points, as well as some of the questions I've asked Epique's CEO and founder around sustainability, scaling, access to support, training, and a little bit more. So folks, all that to say, we're going to wrap it up with this. A lot of cloud-based brokerages in the industry are growing, while we see more and more brick-and-mortar brokerages shutting offices down. Ultimately, what you need to do as a responsible agent is to look at what is going to be best for you, going to be best for your family, and most importantly, going to be best for your business, especially as we go through another stretch of a crazy market. Folks, if you want to know more about our group or anything in regards at all to Epique Realty, please do not hesitate to reach out, send me a DM, shoot me an email, send me a text, give me a call. Even schedule a meeting down below in the description with Chris and I, and we will always be happy to talk shop with you. With that said, folks, I hope to see you around town soon, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.